All right, it's Colin Kelly from Comsteria here, Scotland's powerful communication champion. From media training to crisis comms and smartphone video training, we'll help your organisation communicate with power. We're just reflecting on last night's STV leaders debate during this general election campaign. The leaders of the main parties in Scotland were all on television last night. And I'm just picking up on some of the social media chatter, in particular what some of the party members and politicians are saying on X. Let's start with Pam, who's from the Scottish Conservatives. And I do admire Pam's commitment to the cause and her enthusiasm. She always seems perfectly well-mannered. But I really think, and one thing I've really noticed about these X's or tweets or whatever we're supposed to call them, is, like many, she's so quick to slag off the opposition, but where's the substance? Where's the detail? Okay, Pam, what is it you like so much about the Scottish Conservatives? What is the plan? And there's tweet after tweet from Pam where she's saying, only Douglas Ross has got the plan, only the Scottish Conservatives can do this. But she never really articulates what it is any of them will do. So she'll say that, SNP and Labour are just the same, they agree on everything, we're different, but she never really articulates why they're different or what it is about them that's different. And really notable, the lack of video. And this is something we see again and again from the other party members, the other supporters who are on social media sort of responding to the debate, never putting anything on video, even, reflecting on it afterwards. So the debate was over by 10 o'clock. Even the next morning, there's no video content. And I think there's a real opportunity to support your party. If you think about it, your leader is on there last night in a live debate situation. So it's very unlikely they're going to say absolutely everything the way that they wanted to. So you can get in later, after it, hell, even during it, and actually say it the way that you think they meant to say it when they weren't being, interrupted or pushed or under all of that pressure. So I would really use the opportunity to get some video on there and try to be specific and positive about your own party rather than simply talking down the opposition. So there's Pam from the Scottish Conservatives. Here's Neil, who's the Scottish Labour. Again, when John Swinney asked Anna Sarwar cross-examination questions, it was John Swinney who ended up getting rattled. Not sure that was meant to be John's plan. So having a pop at John Swinney, is that ever going to change anybody's mind? Is anybody watching this and seeing this on Twitter, following this hashtag, are they going to go, do you know what, Neil? You're absolutely, do you know what? You're right, Neil. You've nailed it, Neil. Yes, John got rattled. Well said. Let's vote for Scottish Labour. And I think as well, if you look at this tweet, there's nothing here that would make it clear that Neil is a Scottish Labour politician. I think it's terrific that he is showing his support for Ukraine, but there's yellow there, which we would associate with SNP, and there's no Labour branding on it. He hasn't said anything in the tweet. He's not linking to anything. I don't think that it's so easy to say this stuff. It's so easy to throw stuff out, but you should be thinking, okay, if somebody is following this hashtag and they're not sure what to do, I should make it really clear that my party has a plan. Don't just throw out these little retorts, because all you're doing is playing to your own little crowd. I think there'll be lots of people who would have seen this in their feed last night and wouldn't even know who Neil Bibby is and what party he represents. Here's Willie Rennie supporting Alex Cole-Hamilton of the Lib Dems. I quite like this tweet because it's quite a well-rounded tweet and it goes into some of the specific detail. So it highlights the opening and closing remarks, which I suppose if somebody was interested in, they could go and watch that again. They could click on Alex Cole-Hamilton's account and he does have some of the video clips from the debate. He's mentioned the WhatsApp messages, the mental health and the dentists. There's specific things there where I suppose you could argue maybe. The Lib Dems have a track record. I'm not entirely sure where he's getting that from, but at least it's something specific. Whereas what we've seen so far from the Labour Party and the Scottish Conservatives was putting the other side down, but not really being clear even what are you better at. So I think I quite like that tweet from Willie Rennie. He's at least going into a specific there. This is good here from Katie Loudon at the SNP, where she's watching the debate and there's a discussion around the Labour plans for GB Energy. And so what Katie's using, previous content, so this is her Westminster leader, Stephen Flynn of the SNP, doing an interview a few days back on BBC Good Morning Scotland, and he's clipped it up. So here's the bit where the Labour leader, Keir Starmer, confirms exactly what GB Energy is. So rather than Katie here just sniping about someone else on the panel, she is using pre-existing content from a verifiable, credible source to help back up her point. And I think that's a really good approach. And I'd really encourage the politicians and their activists and their campaign teams to try and do more of this. Let's face it, there's going to be more of these debates, and you know what the issues are going to be. So have a look around and try and find whether it's from something in the Parliament that you could clip up, from the Parliament broadcast channel, or from something like the BBC iPlayer or the STV player, or something sitting on YouTube. Clip it up and share that, because it's backing up what you're saying. So it's not just a snipe or a dig at the other party. You're bringing forward evidence. I think that's a really good approach. The other thing I just wanted to mention as well in the hours and days after a debate is, remember that the mainstream media are going to be summarising it, analysing it, and talking about it as well. So here's Connor. I think he's a Scottish Sun, isn't he? So again, there's nothing stopping you coming along and replying to one of his messages. You know, so if he's criticising Anas Sarwar, rather than Anas Sarwar just doing everything on his own channel, he could actually put a reply to Connor's ex and respond here. And you're picking up people who are not part of your bubble, who are not already voting for you, who probably haven't made their minds up. And so somebody like Connor there is quite an influential voice. Maybe I didn't even watch the debate at all. I've no interest in looking at your party political channels, but I follow Connor because he seems okay, and I quite like the way he chats about politics. So putting some of your content on their social media accounts, replying. Don't think that you're such a big shot that everybody's hanging on your every word. Okay? This is really good. Scottish Socialist Party still going. This is during the debate last night. Very specific. This is what we're calling for. Now, kind of easy to do because, well, there's no chance, I think it's safe to say, that the Scottish Socialist Party are going to be running a Westminster government. So they're not necessarily going to be implementing all of this stuff. And because they weren't part of the debate, they're not facing questions over how you will fund it. So, but I do think it's really strong and clear what it is that they stand for. And while this might not get them a huge number of votes, it might help recruit people to join the party. And I think this is a really good tactic that they're using, where they're not in the debate, not part of the leaders' debate on STV, but can still use that hashtag, can still be a voice in all the discussion around it. Again, same as I have said to some of the others, I'd like to see some video on here as well. I think these are things that will appeal to voters. So come on and pick one and tell me a little bit more about it. I couldn't even name the current leader of the Scottish Socialists. I remember names like Colin Fox and Caroline Leckie. I have no idea if they're even still involved. So whoever it is, let's see them, let's hear them, get them out there, and again, use that hashtag. And here's Ross Greer. Again, similar to what I would maybe say there for somebody like Neil Bibby. If you look at the hashtag that he's using, who's following that hashtag? Right, so he's using the hashtag almost as like punctuation. You know, thankfully there is another option, vote Scottish Greens. So say that and put hashtag STV Leaders Debate. The people that follow the vote Scottish Greens hashtag are typically people who are already going to do that. Now, if that's who he wants to talk to, that's absolutely fine. There's no harm in that. But if he's feeling that, well, I wasn't on the debate and maybe we ought to have been, then that hashtag isn't really going to help. It's just talking to other people like him. Now, of course, it'll get shared and retweeted, and Ross Greer probably believes that he has an influence or a presence, so that people know who he is, so they might look him up. Of course they might. But it's trying to make sure that all these messages that they're fully rounded, that they have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And again, no video. So, all right, Ross, well, what should we do? Let's hear it. And if he didn't want to do a video last night, maybe linking to some other content that the Scottish Greens have already produced, where they explain, their plan. Well, how will you manage oil and gas and the economy in Aberdeen with the need to transition to a clean economy? So there's just a few thoughts on last night's STV Leaders Debate. Thanks very much for watching.